Excellent. Welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Bonnechere Valley Committee meeting. It is in fact Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. It's 1:30 p.m. We are meeting in the council chambers and I am calling this meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda this afternoon? I see none. Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Could I ask for an approval of the minutes from our last council or committee meeting? Moved by Merv. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Excellent. We have no delegations this afternoon, so welcome Kevin. And Emma. Hi, Debbie. Yeah, it was moved by Tracy.
Okay.
I lied. You might use your committee.
Yeah.
I did realize I only needed one mover. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
You brought Emma with you.
I did bring Emma with me. Yes.
Emma, when is your last day?
Friday.
I'm so sad. Tracy, congratulations. I don't want
We
you
are
to-
sad, but congratulations. It sounds like a good opportunity.
But you are staying on the fire department.
Still with the fire department.
You're
Okay.
not moving.
No.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
So congratulations. I'm teasing you, but
yeah,
you've been such an asset to the corporation. We are gonna miss you.
yeah, thank you. It's been a great couple of years, so.
You don't have like a twin or a,
No,
somebody that could, you don't know if anybody exactly like you.
Sounds
that
like you're
can-
getting a good reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did say to Kevin and Annette, when they phoned for a reference, why didn't you just say who? That's what I would have done. Come on, Kevin. No, I sincerely, congrats. And you'll keep in touch with us though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. no,
Okay.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
like Monday to Friday is a little different now.
Wow. All right.
You know. Thank you. Anyways, the arena is, as you can see, the one season's changed and a new one is starting, so, we're starting the ice is in good shape. Our first full day of ice is Saturday. Doesn't feel like it outside, but by the way, that's where we are.
I might just go to cool down.
Well, you will.
So that PA day that you've got your first public skate.
Yeah.
That is also the day of our youth summit.
Right.
In the Eagles Nest.
That's okay.
Just,
Yeah. No.
I just made a couple of notes, but yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Yes, okay, the senior skate will start, October 21st. And was a good response last year, so we went back again this year and it's doing very well. This September 30th, we're closed for Truth and Reconciliation Day at the arena. The Eagle Nest has been booked at a few rentals through the week. Our Christmas party, December 14th. Okay. We'll reach out, get some tenders, that's again for next year. As we did last year, I should say. Rotary Beach, the raft's been taken out. Tourist booths closed for the season. Since all our summer help's gone now, so things are kind of, they're slowing down, and plus losing a very important piece of the puzzle. Anyways, Centennial Park, I sent that little memo or picture of the lights down. Just one of those things. On that note, I'm gonna be shutting the bathrooms down a little sooner because we've had some reoccurring vandalism, so bathrooms will be shut down earlier.
Are we gonna have to camera every park, every piece of apparatus?
And some of this damage is going on inside the bathroom, so
Oh,
their hands are tied. So anyways, that's what's going on.
When are you shutting down the bathrooms?
Well, I'm gonna while we're shutting them down, we're at the Rotary Beach is shut down at 4 o'clock when we leave. I talked to Mike.
Oh, so earlier in the day? not
Yes.
Earlier in the season,
No.
still Thanksgiving weekend, but earlier in the day?
Early in the day, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's just, we're losing. The Legion Field splash pad still going and getting utilized with this weather.
Well, then one of our very loyal residents put it on Facebook, the splash pad's still open, come out and use it on these hot days.
Well,
And she got a lot of traction on that post, because I think people just assumed that it would be shut down.
well, we were, and then we did the forecast, well,
Yeah,
so why not?
I mean, I'd run through it today.
For sure.
Still time.
I know, right?
The village, we took the planter boxes off the bridge this morning and put up a new, the studio tour flag this morning, so that's all up and done, so. Anyways, and my last report was, but we already covered it, Emma, leaving us, she's been a very loyal employee to us, to recreation, and also to the township, so she'll be greatly missed.
Did you want approval or just staff direction on the lease for the canteen?
It's like,
Yes.
Yes, just it's the same as last year, so I figure it was okay, everybody's good with that?
Okay.
Excellent.
That's the end of my.
Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
It's gonna be tough to replace her,
Where's she going?
national defense.
Sounds like
Oh.
a good job.
I told you now I have to kill you. And she's going to,
Apprenticing, wasn't she?
they spent a while. Garrison,
Garrison.
I couldn't get the word garrison.
Thank you.
It's a mess of it, good for her.
Yes, it's awesome, but a real loss to us.
Yeah.
Cause she does work in like every single department.
Yeah, I see her everywhere.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Okay. The September 11th provisional budget report was in your package along with the balance sheet as of August the 31st. Did anybody have any questions?
I thought our financials looked very healthy.
They do.
I love getting to this time of year and knowing that it's not gonna be like, don't buy another paper clip, right? As we come into that fourth quarter of the year, it really gives me a sense of peace, knowing that we're on the right track.
Yes. There are a few department heads though, they hold their big purchases till November. So,
Well, that's when Annette can say no more paper clips. No, well, they wanna see where their budget flushes out as well, so
just if anything goes wrong, then they've got some buffer too.
absolutely.
Completed the business and the payroll survey. On September 9th, I attended a 1 hour virtual treasurers meeting with treasurers from the county of Brantford. On September 10th, I had an online introductory meeting with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Peter Sizoff and Alex Jones. On September 11th, I attended a 1 hour virtual webinar with MPAC, where they did reiterate that until the province finishes their study of, we won't be getting a reassessment.
Okay,
So that's what they said.
so. MPAC is the one that put out the letter, the communication saying that they were going to look at a new way to do assessments. The province did not. However, MPAC is waiting for the province to say, go ahead and reassess. So I had a delegation at AMO about this issue with David Smith, who's the parliamentary assistant to Peter Bethlenfalvey. And the challenge is right now, we've gone so long, they don't have a better way to do it. And going into a potential election next year, but definitely 2026. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see a reassessment. And I hate to say it out loud until 2027, but it's the truth. And at that point, I think you in finance, this is going to be a bit of a logistic nightmare trying to adjust our tax rates with the new assessments. I'm not sure how it's going to roll out, or if they'll do some properties 1 year, some another year, if they'll do the 4-year phase in. I just think when this assessment comes down, quite frankly, even if it was next year, that's 9 years after the last assessment. My fear is that we in the municipal world are going to have a tough time trying to adjust so that people aren't feeling that they're taxed at our tax rate as it sits now on their new assessment, which we know is going to be far larger, especially after the housing boom during COVID.
Yeah.
So,
They sound like they're ready to go though.
Mike,
Apparently they have up-to-date assessments on everyone's property.
yes, we've heard that.
Yeah.
But then that communication came out. And it didn't say that the province was looking in a new way. It said they were.
Well, in this meeting, they said the Ministry of Finance is currently reviewing the assessment system. Those were their words. And they,
Okay. Okay, yeah, I was asked a very strange, I led the delegation for MPAC, so I was also asked a very strange question about cubic meters as opposed to cubic feet. And I think that perhaps they're going down a road that they don't need to go to. I think the problem with assessment as it stands is that there's an inequity. You could have two beautiful Victorian brick homes in the village of Eganville. One of them could be a, total interior scrap job, and the other one could be outfitted with granite countertops, but they're assessed at the same amount. So I think, obviously, there are some people that don't want to let MPAC into their home. But I think there are inequities, and I'm not sure how they get around them. And I said this during my last mayor's report. The county of Renfrew doesn't generally go to a delegation with a minister or PA without a solution or an idea of a solution. This one, unfortunately, again, that I was leading, I had to say to PA Smith, we don't have a solution for you. We just are begging you to do it. Because again, I think that there will be a bit of panic when people start receiving their MPAC assessments. And then we have to figure out their tax bills.
absolutely.
So it's whenever it happens, there might be some overtime. Right, because we certainly don't want people thinking that they're right now they're paying, call it $1,000 on 100,000.
Yeah,
And now all of a sudden, they've gone from a $300,000 assessment to an $800,000 assessment. They're certainly not going to be paying $8,000 because we will have to adjust accordingly. Which I think would have been far easier if they had just done them every year. Or not every year, but the 4 years and with the phase in,
yeah,
understandably, 2020 wouldn't have worked, but I wish that they'd done them in 2021.
yes, because when they first came in with the phase in many years ago, I don't remember when
I
it was.
thought about 10 years ago when they started.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
The first few years were rough, but it was getting smoother
Right.
with a constant reassessment.
Hence my concern.
Yeah.
Because people are going to get those MPAC assessments, they're going to open them, and I think they're going to be shocked at their property values.
I would think.
And now that we've put out, where do your taxes go? It's gonna be incumbent on us.
So I calculated and billed out 3 small supplementary tax billing batches totaling just over $1,200 and 1 write-off for $1,342. Also, I have 3 write-offs that I'm seeking council approval for under the 357. 2 due to fire and 1 due to a demolition. And they are in the report. Did anyone have any questions on that?
Good report, Sandra.
Okay, that's all for me then. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. I didn't want to sound all doom and gloom about MPAC. I just think everybody needs to understand that
We've discussed some of this previously, it's gonna be a nightmare.
it'll be tough.
To your point, to what you paid for your house how many years ago, the new assessment values.
That's
If they freeze
Don't want to
for
open
years,
that up.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that literally what I just said, you're gonna
Yeah.
open it where your assessment was on 350 and now it's 850
Mhm.
or even a larger jump. So I think that there will be, we're definitely going to have to communicate very well to our residents. That there's never gonna be parity, I don't think, I'm not sure if you agree, Sandra. I don't think that we're ever going to get it perfect, but I think we can certainly adjust as necessary. I love your report's perfect. We can finally announce.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a few months since we.
Good 9 months.
That we received approval for this Rural Transit Solutions Fund, which is a joint application with North Dakota Wilberforce and Whitewater Region. And we're able to get three, one for each municipality, zero emission vehicle, and then 2 charging stations for each municipality as well. And the thought is that for transit, we don't have anything locally, but we could have an on-demand rideshare program with these vehicles. And also have the EV chargers, which we have been looking forward to bringing here because they're on all kinds of apps. They do attract visitors and tourism. So we looked at them from that perspective, but didn't receive any funding for them up until now with the addition of the transit. So the media release is in the package. And lots more to come. The final agreement with the federal government, it's pretty well done now. I'm just waiting for the final approval from them. Once it comes forward, I'll bring it back to council, hopefully at the next meeting, for approval through a bylaw and signage of that. And then continue to work with the other 2 townships in negotiating our agreements with them, because we are looking after the fund through the feds, and then we have to have agreements with them. And you know, what are we gonna do going forward? So as far as requests for proposals and tenders, I've collected a fair amount of information on different softwares and apps that are out there, or developing our own. So I have lots of information that I've shared with the other 2 CAOs, and we've all sort of received direction from our councils to go ahead and negotiate sort of what proposals we're gonna have and what direction we're gonna recommend going forward. And then once we have sort of our negotiated agreements and the directions we want to go forward, then each of us will bring forward a report to our councils. And if that goes forward, then hopefully in the new year, we'll be able to get out our tenders and our proposals. And by the spring, summer season, we'll be able to have this in place, and hopefully it benefits a lot of people.
So I will say that the Whitewater had posted theirs. And there was a lot of negativity immediately on social media. That ours came out and somebody said, oh, I'm sure council hasn't thought of, a whole bunch of factors. I did respond that we've gone into closed about this fund at least 3 times. We're not naive enough to think that this is going to go perfectly. We're going to figure it out. People ask, well, what kind of cars are you getting? We don't know. We haven't RFP'd for them. I think that I'm excited about the Chargers. I'm cautiously optimistic about the cars, but we don't have to keep the cars past their life. So I think that's a very good note, that while they're in warranty, it'll be fine. Once they're out of warranty, unless they are a money generating, like a lot of money generation, we probably wouldn't go back, but that would be the decision of a future council. I know in speaking with my colleagues, we're sort of all on the same page. This hasn't been done. This is the first of its kind. I do wonder if this will qualify us for provincial gas tax. So the rule about provincial gas tax is that you must have public transit. In my opinion, our public transit is the big black thing with the yellow line down the middle. they don't agree with me, so we don't qualify. I think all three municipalities would be very interested to know if we would qualify for a small amount of provincial gas tax. So there are a lot of pros to this. I see the cons as well. But I think that we've got to get into it with our neighbors. This was a great shared service. That's why we were approved, having three municipalities on board. And again, I think that having the chargers is something that we've wanted. They are very, very, very expensive, and now they're being paid for. So I think it's a good news story, and we'll hope for the best with the vehicles.
Yeah, if it brings benefit to those who can't afford to maintain a vehicle or can't afford to maintain two vehicles, or we've got volunteers at the senior centers and stuff that are using their own vehicles. This might be some way for them to do that a little bit cheaper to assist, then that's a benefit. And like you said, it's 80% funded. And the additional funding, if the program is not successful, it's a pilot program. That's how we pitched it. And you know, if you don't try new things, you never get anywhere. So we'll try it. If it's successful and it works great, that's amazing. If you know, then it might grow, it might go, who knows where it'll go. But if it doesn't work, it's maybe we're not ready for it yet. If that's the case, then yeah, then in time, we're gonna give it enough time to take off a few years, and then we sell the vehicles and recoup the small investment of the township. And we keep the chargers and we move on with our lives. So I think it's you know, when you take risk and when you try new things, you know, the important thing is you want to have as little risk with it as possible for the township and from a financial perspective. And I think that this qualifies for that. So I hope it's successful. If not, then we'll recoup what we put in and we'll keep moving. But yeah,
I think I just wish that a hybrid would qualify. I think that's the road I'm going down.
Yeah.
That for our winters, definitely a hybrid would have been a better choice. Unfortunately, this fund does not allow it, so.
no. And if the program itself is successful and that's somewhere we want to go in the future, then we have that option. So,
Right.
Yeah. Excuse me, so other fundings that we're looking for, the round 2 of the Housing Enabling Fund. So we did apply for round 1, we weren't successful, but when I look at some of the people that were successful, you know, our number of units was low. So a lot of them were, you know, 480 units to 1,000 units, you know, we're looking at about 100 and some. So I understand, you know, that's a lot for us. But for the province as a whole, we were one of the lower units that were applying, and also the funding that we were asking for was a lot. And so some of the projects I've seen, it's more housing, and what they were looking for was smaller. So rather than doing like all of John Street and interior, they were just doing like a pumping station. So we're scoping it back a bit, and they also were ahead of us on the engineering. They'd already had the engineering done. They were able to submit drawings. We didn't have that yet. We were working on that as quickly as we could. So we'll have some drawings ready to go for the next round. So some drawings ready, a little bit of reduced scope, and hopefully we'll be successful with round 2.
And we're able to now
That's
with our
great.
projects.
That's
So
great, yeah.
I'm just saying.
And there's another one that's coming out for road construction, but it also has to be tied to housing. So we're looking at that one as well. And the Green Inclusive Community Building Fund, we applied for like over maybe 2 years ago for the curling club and for the arena. So the curling club was going to be like completely self-sufficient, so zero, like net zero, which I thought was amazing. Unfortunately, we weren't not successful in that program, but they've come out with another round. And one of the comments that we received back was and this wasn't in the guidelines, but anyway, they said we didn't include any accessibility components in our application, but there wasn't anything in the guidelines about that. So anyway, I guess when it came down to it and they were measuring these applications, that became the factor that kind of pushed you over to the win. So now that we know that, we've incorporated some of that, and we may even be able to get some of the money back that we spent on the ramp in the curling club because the date goes back further and that's inaccessible. So that was funded partially through federal dollars, partially through municipal. So we may be able to actually recoup backwards some of the money we invested there.
Well, and at the arena,
So,
we desperately need a new wheelchair lift.
yeah, so we looked into that and the advice that we received is not to go down that road. Things have changed with wheelchair lifts and we'd actually have to do a whole addition onto the arena. So the cost would be astronomical. And so the advice we received was don't change that. It's working now. And nowadays, I guess it's kind of like, to me, I compare it to the fire truck issue,
Yeah,
where the fire trucks are getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
yeah.
So you can't get what we have over there now at all. You can't get it.
Well, you can't get not every day, but a proper wheelchair won't fit on that.
Then, yes, because the newer wheelchairs are bigger, so the lifts are bigger,
Yeah.
but our space won't allow it. So they said it, as long as it's
Has to be on the
working,
external side rather than inside.
as long as
Really?
it's, as long as it's working for now, they said, we don't think you should touch that at this stage. It's going to be very costly.
It's just so unfair because it makes the Eagle's Nest not accessible.
Well, we haven't had anyone who's had an issue. We've
yes,
had
we have.
wheelchairs on there. Have we? Oh,
Yes.
I have not received that information. So,
I will give you the
Yeah.
information.
Some of the
after.
museum would be great if we had
I don't wanna-
sort of
Yeah.
lift in there too,
Yeah.
right?
so we did look at that.
Okay,
But anyway, that's the advice we received, so, we're gonna see what else we can do there, to continue to make it, as accessible as
I don't
possible.
like that,
Yeah, so,
but I will tell you the person's name when we're not in a
Okay.
public meeting.
no, of course, yeah, so, we just continue to sort of look at those types of things, but if we can get some of our funds back that we invested in the curling club, that would be a win as well, so. Looking at that and spacing them out so that we're not, because we're a small municipality and we can only handle so many projects at once. So these fundings go all the way to 2029. So just kind of, so this project this year, this project, like we can handle probably 2 projects a year, but once you get into 3 or 4 major projects, it really, that's a lot for our staff to be able to handle, so.
Especially without Emma.
Yeah. So we are also trying to span those out. So my email report is in there as well, some of the sessions that I attended with the water and the wastewater. And some of the discussions that we had there. We went to a municipal service corporation across the province or sections of the province and what that would look like and our employees. So it was a really good conversation and it continues, but yeah, I didn't see any answers come out of that meeting that day, but they might have got answers to some of their questions that they can fill in some of their gaps. I don't know.
It was suggested that perhaps Judy and LAS have a meeting with just staff as opposed to staff and elected.
Yes.
And also, I believe Judy is coming on Thursday afternoon to our Roma meeting. And I'm assuming that she will be reporting on
What was in,
what
what the
what
intent was.
information
Yeah.
that they received. Because much like these EVs, doing an MSC for water and wastewater is a
Mhm.
whole new thing,
Yes.
so, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's not quite the same as, with the electricity grid or things like
Right.
that, because it is very different, and because you're not all, it's not the same service everybody's getting, or the same water, or the,
Right.
so it's, but I'll be interested to see where this goes, in the future. We're in pretty good shape, but, it's not perfect, and it depends on whether everybody's at the same stage. So if we require a whole bunch of investment because our infrastructure is very old, but we're gonna partner with somebody else who has new infrastructure, then it's gonna benefit us for now, and it's gonna benefit them in 10, 20 years when they need it. Whereas if we all need investment now, and in 10, 20 years, we're not gonna need investment, it's not really helping the situation. So I'm curious to see where that, where, I think that's a big component of it. What are the ages of all the different infrastructure?
Yeah.
And if we plan that out over a 25-year period, would that, instead of having spikes and valleys, would that actually be the best for everybody?
And capacity as well for
Capacity.
growth.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that was brought up. I will have further information as this goes. I mean, it is in its infancy stage.
Mhm.
But it is important to know that it will be voluntary. Like,
Yes, that
just like
was-
everything else with LAS, we don't have to buy in.
Yeah, that was
So,
very much,
yeah.
commented at that meeting. And then the asset management session that I went to after that was very interesting because a lot of the asset management that you go talks about infrastructure, talks about age, talks about investment and reserves and all this kind of stuff. But instead, it really talked about psychological safety, and it talked about where staff are coming from and do they feel safe enough with their, with the CAOs and with the council to be able to tell you how it really is. And so it was totally not what I expected to talk about at that session, but I thought, you know what, that is a important component that nobody really, at least in my experience, is having that conversation. So I was very interested that they brought this forward because, yeah, if your staff doesn't feel safe enough to say to you, we need whatever, and we're in trouble here with this truck or with this pipe or with this road or whatever. And I know it's not what council wants to hear, and I know it's not what the residents want to hear, but we have to have a conversation about it. And or sometimes it's not even that you're in trouble. Sometimes it's the community really wants an upgrade in service. So whether it's a new playground or whether it's, feeling safe enough to have the conversation to say, that's fine, we can fundraise and we can invest this amount of money in this now, but we have to maintain it in the future. And I don't think we can afford it on where we are now. So I think those discussions and staff feeling safe enough to have those discussions is really what that session was about. And I thought I never looked at it that way, but I thought, yeah, that's very important that they know they can give us the good news, the bad news, and still be excited about the community growing and new things happening, but be comfortable enough to say, here's what this is going to cost in the future and are we prepared for that? So I thought it was a very interesting session.
So human assets,
Yes, very
like it.
interesting.
I like it a lot.
And then the other ones, the provincial policy statements, 2024 is coming out. So there's more and more webinars going on about that. I think the biggest thing was basically not having the requirement to review the official plans and, you had to do a comprehensive review every 10 years. And now, it's ongoing, but it's not a mandatory thing. So that's really what I took from that. And building code, again, changing to the whole international, the North American code and, energy efficiencies and things like accessibility, things like that. Enhancing long-term financial stability. So that one wasn't as exciting. It was funding versus financing. It wasn't, I thought that we were going to get more tools. It talked about tools and tips and tricks. I didn't get any from that session, but I did kind of, they did the pros and cons of whether you're funding it through tax base or whether you're financing it through debt. So, I mean, good conversation to have. AI and municipalities, very interesting stuff, but very keyed towards large urban. Like they were talking about, different garbage collection and things like that. But what I kind of felt is it really was meant for a more populated area. Not saying we couldn't use it here, but I feel like that the savings that they were, or not the savings that we would have, just because of their size.
So they weren't talking about ChatGPT.
No, they were not. No, they were. Yeah, so like they have very large, because I guess they were picking up garbage in their parks all the time. They kind of like we have the garbage cans, but they now have, I don't know how deep the hole, deep hole. And they have AI tell them when it's getting close to being full or whatever. And it's just, so they don't check on their garbage anymore. It's all computerized and
Well, it's just your buried systems, right? You see, it's got like our impression of the A&W there, for example, it's no different. They have it trapped all the way down. It's just you have less changeover and then no large bins, right?
Yeah. So it's
So
interesting.
I can't think what they start with an M. I
Yeah.
can't think
Yeah,
of
it's
It's like mole
Yeah.
system is like, I think it's one of them or something like that.
Yes.
I looked at them years ago.
Yeah, saving on space
It's not
and,
that, but it's similar.
It is similar.
Yeah.
I just had it, but now I lost
But
it.
we,
Well,
Molochs, thank you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of systems like that,
Thanks,
just
Heather.
save on space, especially for like
Gonna make you
rezoning applications
Yeah.
and stuff like that. These large bins, they smell and these are like concealed and they're also like bear proof and this and that, but with
Yeah.
our volume, like.
Yes, exactly, yes, and.
Like we have an RV dumping station, gets utilized a fair bit, but
Yeah.
it's, our volume's not there for putting all these across in town.
No,
Region.
but in this city they were, and they really were saving a lot of money because they weren't having the, the staff that was going out like every couple of days. All across the township, so now, the garbage, like, it was like once a month from like 2 or 3 times a week to once a month. You know what I mean? So it was just, and with the sensors, like sometimes they didn't even need to go to that one. That one could wait. So it was, so that was the example that was shared, and I thought that's a great example of one of the tools that we could use going forward to save dollars. Not really for a smaller municipality, but it was an interesting thing. And the ministers forum, so a lot about fiscal sustainability, who's paying for what, infrastructure needs, how are we gonna continue to do what we're doing, and property taxes are not sustainable. Health and mental health, big discussions, as well as code of conduct and civility, and just the really the rage like that's out there, that's just people are very upset, and so it's both council, staff, public, like just a lot of incivility going around, and no one's really sure why we're not being a little bit more tolerant and having a little bit more understanding across the board. Yes, it's not necessarily here, but it was really prominent in the minister's forum, that I was like, wow, this is, it's big, but yeah, it's a lot. And housing in Ontario, again, I included that TVO podcast if anybody wants to listen to it, because I thought it was a great conversation to end the conference off with. And I mean, basically what they said is not one level of government can solve this problem. So if all 3 of us aren't on our board, this problem's not getting solved. So I think we all so it was kind of like we knew that, but it was interesting to hear different people from different, even I think there was even a lady on there from BC. So just hearing what everybody's talking about, and solutions that they've come up with, or ideas that they have. And we had somebody from the development industry, and so it was good to listen to everybody's sort of side of things. And so I think it's only 30 minutes. It's not too much to watch. And then, of course, our Ministry of Energy delegation, so we did have that, hoping to follow up with a meeting with ISO and MNR. And that's all I have for April. So the last thing on my report before I get to Sarah's and Erica's was, so we tried out some summer hours here. The public works employees were working 410s. And, my own staff was like, well, we tried a little bit of 410s last summer. We've attempted some, but this is a pretty close knit admin group, and we have a lot of like crossover with jobs. And so if you have somebody who's in the office one day and not in the office the other day, they like to work together. But we are finding the demands are higher across the board. So sometimes what you don't have is a little bit of focus time. If you're constantly dealing with phone calls or people being at the counter, and you just need a little bit of time to focus on whether it's a grant application, whether it's balancing the receipts at the end of the day. We do also have employees that have other jobs, whether it's farming or whatever. So, and myself, the benefit to me was, I could make an appointment at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So instead of, and it's not that I couldn't come in a half an hour early anyway and leave a half an hour early. The problem is that starts to set a precedent, and then somebody has to be here to cover the counter if we're going to be open till 4:30.
Right.
So I don't like to, say, well, I'm not covering the counter, so I can do it, but you can't. So it kind of brought consistency to that as well. So that if I was here at 8 and I left at 4 and I had an appointment, then we weren't losing office time from each other. And so I think it worked well from a morale perspective. There were times when someone would call us and say, I can't make it there until 4:15 or 4:20, and we said, no problem. Like, it's not that somebody's not here. Quite often 1 or 2 or 3 of us are here, but we're focusing on something, but if we know you're coming and it's one individual, that's fine. Same with in between, let's see,
Let's see.
you know, work and the council meeting like today, we'll probably still be here until, 6 o'clock. If somebody came in and wanted to do lottery license, marriage license, whatever they needed to do, then we'll bring them in after hours. If there's it's not overtime, it's not anything like that. We're here all the time. So haven't received any concerns from any residents. I don't know if council has. I think it worked well. I think staff is feeling positive about it. So my request is, can we continue? And I picked the date of January 31st only because I was gonna go with December. And I thought, how's that gonna work? So I'm either gonna have to bring my report forward the second meeting in December. Or so I picked January 31st to say, so we'll finish it out to the end of the year. And then when we have our meeting in January, I'll bring it forward and we can have another discussion at that point to say, like, is this still working for everybody? Always trying, to have a retention tool to, like, there's a lot of municipalities out there who are doing flexible hours.
Yep.
We're small, so we can't always do a flex time hours where there's only 2 people in the office and then, someone calls in sick and now we're overwhelmed. So just trying to keep it a positive work environment and trying to keep productivity as at a high, because again, focus time. If you're not feeling the pressure and the stress and constantly interrupted, then if you need that half an hour a day and it's not causing any issues, then why not? So that's putting that out there. If council thinks we can continue the pilot, and if not, then.
Yeah, that's fine. January 31st makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I was shocked even at OEMC last week.
Yeah.
Hearing other municipalities talking about flex time across the
Oh, yeah,
corporation.
no, yeah,
And work from home
Yeah.
option. And so I think that now that we know that we can, I think not that employees are demanding it, but it certainly is good if we have some tool to give them that, time to focus. It will increase productivity. I think I have not heard one complaint.
okay,
So, and generally I'm the one that's gonna get the phone call or the text, so I suspected I might
yeah.
just because of that 1/2 hour, but I haven't.
Well, and I can tell you, I've heard from other people who live in other municipalities and other staff who work at other municipalities, and I'm not calling anyone out, where, if they want focus time, they just don't answer their phones, or they just don't respond to emails, or they just don't. And so I had both residents say, wow, I can't believe someone answered the phone. I can't believe someone got back to me. I can't. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen in other places, it does. But I've heard from both sides, I've had people approach me at events and say like your staff really, like, why don't other places? And I said, listen, I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what their policies are. I don't know I can't comment on that, because it might be flex time. It might be you've called and left a message. That person might be working from home that day. You know what I mean? So I don't have the answers for that, but I know it seems to work here. I've heard from enough people that we do get back. So if we need a half an hour of focus time, you know what I mean? We're not, but if the public the other important thing is the public's aware of that. So if the public knows what our hours are, knows when to call, when we might not answer the phone, I think that's important for them too, because if you just said, I'm taking a half an hour of focus time and you just don't answer your phone, I think it's nicer for the public to know we're gonna close at 4 to give staff, so you know that. But if you need us in that time period and you call us the day before, even the day of, earlier in the day,
Yeah.
like we'll work with the public. We're not looking to get away from them. It's just, we're trying to schedule our time, accordingly, so. But yeah, so if you hear concerns, let me know. I haven't heard any. I think that we're still giving lots of service, but and increasing productivity, but if there are concerns, then we have to.
I
Sounds good.
Council hears any concerns, we pass them along to Annette.
There's never anything on social about service.
I
that I've
agree
ever
with you.
seen.
No, we have a small staff, so it's kind of
We do.
reflected with what
Yeah.
we have here. So if the trial's working well, then we'll just carry that forward. It's a common sense. You want staff to pick up their phone, not staff that
Yes,
are
we do.
angry and don't want to pick up their phone.
Or angry and pick up their phone.
Yes.
We don't want that.
Yes. If you want a half an hour a day to focus on, and that's important, because funding applications and things like that, or planning applications, or whatever we need,
Yeah.
that's important to focus on.
Sounds good.
So Erica's report is there with, the planning.
For the minutes, can we have that fixed? The since September 11th? Okay, thank you.
So, the marriage licenses and the lottery licenses, that's the total for the year. Not since September 11th, so,
Eagle Eye Murphy caught it.
yes. And then again, she's still waiting to hear back from the county. They were proposing a county-wide exercise this year.
Yes,
But if we don't hear about it shortly, we're gonna have to start planning our own, so, yeah. And then Sarah's report, so you were indicating about the youth summit, so, we're hoping to have, registrations in by Friday, October the 4th. Just so we know how many people are going to be there. She's had lots of organizations have committed. So it's out there now. We're ready. We're taking registrations. We have a youth speaker. We have, different people on board. So I think it's gonna be a good day. And wanting to hear back from our youth to see what it is that they're interested in.
I would say yes for the truck, for the Interactive Career Expo. I don't know how other people feel, but
Looks cool.
Yeah, so we have to book it ahead of time.
I see
And
that.
so, it's $1,500 for that now. Sarah is, I think she's having a conversation, I think it's with OPG. They do sponsorships of certain things, so I think she's trying to get it funded. But if it doesn't get funded, can we book it now, knowing that when she brings the budget in January, February, March, whenever we bring the budget for it, that $1,500 won't be able to be cut because we've already agreed to it in principle.
Okay, so number one, I think all 5 of us were very excited about the idea of this expo. If we're excited about it, then I think we have to invest in it. Hopefully Sarah will be able to find a sponsor for it.
Yeah, we're still working on sponsor, we haven't given up that it's gonna come from municipal, but if we book it right now, we have to book it ahead of time.
For the career expo, what's the target, like the age target we're going
So
for?
that is, I think 14 to 18,
Yeah.
Okay.
so the youth
Well, I
summit,
just, because I was just saying, and I know on the date, like for the interactive, for like the 16th of May, a
Mhm.
lot of summer, I guess, like in my opinion, it's late for the summer employment.
oh,
But this is.
I know it's geared towards like your high school for their PED days and stuff like that. We had previously spoken
Yeah.
last meeting.
mhm.
But this is also to bring in people that are in careers, so not necessarily a summer job.
Mhm.
To help guide them in their courses and
Yeah.
planning in high school.
And we tend to have high school students in that
Mhm.
work for us in the summer. They're not, I'm not saying never, college or university. We have had college and university as well. But I know what you're saying. Doesn't mean we won't already have our ads out, in April to get the university. And if they commit to come here, just because they come, let's say they come and work for water, sewer, rec, roads, admin, wherever they come to work, doesn't mean maybe they'd like to participate in this day. Like they might, if we already have them hired, there's no reason why they can't participate in this day.
I agree. You okay, John? That's what happened to me the last meeting.
So I guess my question is, are you okay with the day? Because we were gonna do it in April, but there's no PA day in April, and there's no busing right now, we can't really figure that out. The other thing is we could move it to a Saturday, but I don't know if we're gonna get people out on a Saturday. I'm not saying we won't, I just,
I think it's a nice PA day in May will work.
Is that the one before the long weekend?
yes.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
it
downside.
doesn't lead into the long weekend.
No. Friday, isn't
The
that?
16th, it doesn't, it might,
Does it?
it
That
might.
seems really early.
I don't keep the holidays, so apologies.
Oh my gosh, it is too.
Yeah, it does. lead into-
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
then maybe that doesn't work.
Okay,
Or when you just have more higher volume.
it's hard to say,
Like that's the thing, like you're gonna have a higher volume, people coming back to open up their cottages and stuff, right?
that's possible.
Like that's like, there's two ends of the sword, right?
Yeah,
Or we could back it up into April and pick a Saturday. I don't know, are people gonna come out to a career day on a Saturday, or would they rather come out, like, I don't know. Is a Friday PA day a better day? I
Just,
don't- I have
just,
no
just
idea.
run it on the Friday in the May, like,
Okay.
let's put in a report. Try it out, if it doesn't go well, you bump it to April the next year, there's no harm to it.
If this, I honestly, the mom with kids at home, teenagers, I can't see them going on Saturday or Friday PA day before a long weekend.
it's the long weekend that's got
Yeah.
me stumped.
Yeah, I can't think that's the charm that they're like, yay, you know, long weekends, get out of here.
And we wanted to do it in April on a long weekend, but there just wasn't one.
Yeah, no. I just can't.
Because Easter weekend.
Yeah, there just wasn't one. Yeah, and then other than that, we're looking at a Saturday.
Is it something you can do at Obiango? Is that, where's the location for this?
So we were gonna have it at the Eagle's Nest, but we could move it to
That's what
Obiango.
I'm thinking, like, right after school, like maybe not on a Friday, but is there any other day in May that because they end at what, 2:20? Or lunch hours?
I don't know.
Just an idea.
Or do we push it off to October for government week?
Like in 2025.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the other option,
and then.
right?
maybe-
Because we're doing the youth summit the Friday before government week starts.
Okay, we can do that. And then I
I don't
don't,
know, I'm throwing it out there to see
Good, I
what sticks.
think it's better than a long weekend in May.
so do you want to, like, I guess we'll have to see if there is a PA day in October 2025. That's probably not out yet. And if there isn't one, then we do it on a Saturday or.
I think there usually is by Thanksgiving, isn't there?
So what are we looking at? Obviously, January is no-go. February, do they have PA days where they have family day weekend?
Don't know.
And then March would be March break, April is Easter, and then
It's
May,
usually one a month. Days.
apparently not in April.
Isn't there one at Easter?
No, there isn't, not this year.
Mm.
I don't, why, I don't know.
How much in advance you have to book the truck?
Yeah, well, so probably like that's why we came today, because we need to book it soon. Like, I guess it fills up very quickly.
Just
So-
look it on July 1st.
I think you'd get a lot of people if you could figure out how to have it at Obiango. And how long is the time span you were thinking of for this event? Is it a
Yeah,
couple
well,
hours?
it's for the day, like we're
For the whole
bringing in
day?
different people from different careers to come in
Yeah.
and talk about, here's all the different careers, so it's gonna take a whole day. So
Okay.
I don't think we could start at 2 in the
Yeah,
afternoon,
yeah.
you know?
I think what we're saying is yes to the truck, maybe you and Sarah figure out the day.
Like,
Okay.
I'm fine with the May, if you guys believe it's gonna be successful, like 100% support
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
if it's not successful, then we'll do it again the fall, or we'll do it the following year.
Mhm.
We're
It's
gonna
just the
try it and
It's just
see
the
how it
expense
is.
of the truck though, I just like,
Well, trying to take it out of council's budget, this initiative we want, we'll cut something from it, it's fine with me.
We just thought like a PA day, like a Friday, right, people are. But I didn't think of it being before the long weekend, but, you know, I just thought if you do it on a Saturday, sometimes people have stuff on, but if it's on a Friday, sometimes they don't have anything on during the day, they might come out to it.
No matter what you do, somebody's
I
gonna be
know,
inconvenienced.
I know.
I agree with Merv. Okay, so you and Sarah, the truck, we're approving,
Okay,
because I think it would be, I think it's imperative,
Yes.
right? Okay,
but we won't be able to book, regardless of that, we won't be able to book the truck, we don't know what day it's gonna be. on.
I know, what I'm saying
The-
is that
the-
the meeting,
The May 16th one, on my opinion, if that's just plan to exact what's in the report, and then, see how it goes. If we don't get a big turnout, then try a different date next year.
yeah,
Okay,
If we worry
Well,
about
yeah.
budget, we'll just, yeah, if we
Okay.
worry about budget, we'll cut it somewhere of councils.
okay,
We're the best cutters.
all right, we'll try
of
it.
our own.
We'll
Yeah,
try
no
and-
workshop, so there you go.
And we'll have it advertised lots in advance and, you know.
Well,
hopefully-
we said it was one of our commitments that we wanted to find things for youth and
Absolutely.
individuals, we want to give people more into other skill sets and stuff, so it's okay, it's something that we all set aside for, so.
Well, and we did say when I brought up the youth summit, that this would be 8 to 14. And then this career fair is 14 to 18, 14 to 19, I
Yeah,
don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sounds good.
okay, we'll give it a shot, we'll see what happens.
yes to Taste of the Valley application, please. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Excellent.
So I think, just on that, I just wanna, Norfolk and Wilberforce is also putting in an application. We probably won't both get it. So the only thing I want to say that is if we get it, they're happy to support us. And if they get it and we don't get it,
Where would they host theirs?
snow drifters.
Hmm.
So, so we'll see, but the conversation I had with them is probably only one of us is gonna get it. So
Yeah.
whichever gets it will still be involved in the event, one way or the other, to try and, you know, yeah. So,
They're upgrading their electrical systems done already and they're putting in commercial dishwashers. They want to use that facility properly.
okay. Well, we'll go ahead and, we'll apply and we'll see what happens. That works. Okay, so I think the rest is just, information, you know, the newsletter that's coming out, if the CIP, so we haven't received anything else. We did, I know Daryl did go out and inspect, one, and so we have gone forward and we're ready to issue that. Check, and the other one is not ready yet, so when it is, he'll go out and inspect that and go from there.
Cool.
Yeah, the swim program was successful. You know, there's challenges with every new program that you sort of put together, and I know it was done in the past, but this was kind of different.
That's,
Was a joint effort. So it came in, you know, about where we expected it to come in with budget, which was good. And, we're definitely going to move forward and put on another program next year. So looking to sort of lock in staff in January and then, figure out our pricing and get our advertising and registrations in earlier. Cause we didn't even get staff locked down until later. So, yeah, and just any improvements that we can make, would be good. So we had, I think, 89, kids go through.
oh, that's really
Yeah,
successful.
we wanted 100, and we had 100 at one point, but you know, some life happens. So we had some cancellations and then they were too late and other people had already made plans. So, I think 89 out of 100 was still really, really well done. Yeah.
I like it.
There.
I didn't realize that OPG grant in Sarah's, I didn't realize that was for the truck.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you what that was for.
so. Yeah, so Campus Committee 2 was very well received this year, and so EV Charge On is a different grant than the Rural Transit Solutions one. So, because if we can get because it's an 80% funded, but if we can also cover our 20%, we're always ready to go for that. So we haven't heard back from them yet, but that's that one. The OPG one, so what we actually applied for was busing costs. Because what we were gonna try to do, to Tracy's point, was have the career day on a school day. Which we talked to Opiongo about, they were fine with that, and actually bus the kids. But that's not working real well right now.
No, it's too soon.
Sorry, so, but OPG reached out, and so Sarah and I had a conversation, and so now we've pivoted. We said, oh, but we've got something else you could fund for us, so we're working with that.
Excellent.
And Jason Blaine was sort of the same. We were looking at the busing, we were looking at the truck. We were looking at maybe some swag, like, you know, trying to attract people in there. So we haven't heard back from that one either. But yeah, we're really trying to continue to support what we can.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want swag for the youth summit.
Yeah, so we'll see if they get back to us. We
Okay.
don't have any budget left, but we're.
No,
we're
I didn't mean.
We're looking for funding.
Yeah.
And we've reached out to the people who, in the youth summit, who are coming to present or coming with information or just having booths at the back or whichever, we've definitely said to them, if those organizations, or Algonquin College or Training and Learning, if they have swag, whether it's one of those cute little doodads that you squeeze when you're stressed or something, or a pen or any kind of swag.
Definitely.
We're open to have that, or we've talked to some local spots as well to donate some door prizes. So
Lovely.
we are working on making that as fun as possible.
Lovely.
And then, of course, the fire protection grant, so that was a new one that came out, so we've put an application in for that as well. You can see there the youth summit for October 11th. That's,
I sent my opening comments to Sarah, but she didn't
Okay.
send me back any edits, so I
Oh.
wasn't sure.
okay. And the trades and truck, there's more information, and there's the truck itself, so you can sort of see skills on the road
Yep.
and what it looks like and what it would have. And that's really it for my report.
Thank you. All right, anything in correspondence A? Going once, twice. Correspondence B. So one of the things that, when I was going over my package, I emailed Annette, the request for, Feebig Road.
Mhm.
I asked if Jason would come for this portion of the meeting unless Annette had the answers, and Annette has the answers. But before we get to number 7, did anybody have anything on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9?
Number 1 was just asking for, that was just community safety zones for.
Yeah, that's what I reported on.
That's what I thought, yeah.
If you were listening to my mayor's report.
Always listen, always time.
And Jason's coming with information on that at the next meeting.
Oh, okay,
Okay, great, yeah.
that makes sense.
Where we blanket the village of Unionville in a
Yeah.
community safety zone. I like it.
Is that the plan? Oh, we talked about the schools.
Yeah,
Right?
well, I was joking, but with everybody, with all the kids walking,
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
maybe it's not a joke.
Well, with the kids walking, and then you have your crosswalks that are on both main highways,
Mhm.
technically, so like, that's the biggest thing.
And the transportation master plan that we're working with the county, so the county and I think Arnprior, Horton, Vulture Valley, Whitewater. I think those are the 4 lower tiers that are participating in it. So, we've had a lot of discussion around that. We did just talk about this at our last meeting. And like, so Arnprior, for instance, I think is 90% of Arnprior is community safety. So it's only 10% is not, so they had like, that's exactly what they talked about.
Right.
So, we've got some stats on that, we've got some information on that, and, the county itself is going to be using LAS, for the, basically the enforcement of this, and LAS has very specific, criteria. So, whether we have to stick with that criteria or other criteria, but anyway, Jason will come with a full report. I know he's done a bunch of research on it, so, and well, Dana too, so.
Excellent. So does anybody have any questions for Annette about the request to close and relocate a portion of Feebig Road?
Well, it made sense, to be honest. So how does that process work in it?
So, so we received a request and the person who requested was here. So I did talk to Jason first, because as you know, when it's roads, and so that's where the mayor reached out and asked for Jason to be here. And I said, do you feel like you need to be there? Or do I have all the information I need? And, so Jason is recommending it. He says it's fine where the road will be moved to, how they plow it, closing the additional portion. He has no concerns about that. So the concern that I raised, and I received a copy of the survey, which is also in your packages. The only concern that I had was the one neighbor. So when we close a road for process, we have to have a public meeting, and we mail out notice to everybody within, I don't know if it's 60 meters or 120 meters. I'll have to go back and look, but we mail out definitely the adjacent property owners. And then we have the public meeting, and if they have concerns or comments, they can bring them forward at that time before council moves forward with the closing. So the concern that I had when I was talking with Anne at the county, because she was looking at it as well, was just there's a property that the road is adjacent to. So if you look on the survey, there is one landowner who owns both sides of the road. But the other property is very close to that, like I can't remember the exact distance, but there is a small section of land in between the road and that property owner. And my understanding from Jason is that that property owner is currently, you entering the property, going through sort of the adjacent farm property on the other side and kind of coming through that and not using that. Like where it looks on the GIS mapping like the road touches that property, but it doesn't, as you can see in the survey, it doesn't. They're not using that as access, they're going around, through this right of way, whether it's a legal right of way, and I don't know. So that was my only concern, was that if this one property owner was, like that was their access, whether it's legal access, illegal access, sometimes you have a right to use something, but maybe you don't have a proper right of way, or you don't own the property or anything like that. But if you went to court, the judge would say, yes, I agree, this is your legal access, because for years, even though you didn't have it legally to use it, you have used it, you've gained a right on it. I'm not saying that's the case in this instance. Nothing has led me to believe that's the case in this instance, but that was the only concern that I had. So I reached back out and I said, so if, if we don't want to get into that issue, could we close it further down and kind of come down here, like lower, and just close this portion of the road that's at the water, but still leave a portion open? But in discussions with Jason, that's actually making it more difficult, because there's already like kind of like a hydro line easement there that's cleared. So that would be the easier way to come through, and the preferred option of the property owner, and clearly in the request, that's what they're requesting. So,
Probably make Hydro's life a lot easier too, to repair it for some of the rural networks there.
so
Just
that's,
Getting in that in the winter time is a
Yeah.
hassle. Like when I originally looked at it, I saw it in person as well, and
good.
like it makes sense. And I'm
Mhm,
happy that we got the survey for it as well,
mhm.
just so you can show the property lines as well.
Yeah, for sure. So that's my only concern.
Mhm.
So just kind of looking for direction from council. Do you want me to reach out to that property owner? Do you want to just go ahead with the public meeting? That property owner should have notice of the meeting and can bring forward objections if they have them at that time. So this today, what it would be is we agree to it in principle. We'll move forward with the process, which is public meetings. And if that neighboring property owner doesn't come forward or anything, do you want me to seek a little bit of legal advice from Tony to just say, so if we go forward with this public meeting, here's the situation we're looking at. Do you think that's sufficient? Or do you think this other person could, like, once we go through with it, could this other property owner come back to us at some point? So just kind of looking for, do you want me to get sort of a legal opinion on it? And then if Tony says, yeah, go ahead with your process. You've done the public meeting, you've mailed out the
I was gonna
letter.
say our process is there for a
Go for it.
reason.
I
Just
know.
keep it going straight forward,
Yeah.
no different, because if we show favoritism to one, we're gonna have to show favoritism to every single one that we ever do. In my opinion,
Yeah, no,
obviously, like, it's just
Mhm.
straightforward, no different than we've had some on Lake Clear as well, and
Yeah.
all sorts of spots, right?
But you just in your monologue there, you cleared up a couple of things that I was
Okay.
gonna ask with the maps. I didn't have an opportunity to go in person because I haven't been home.
Mhm.
But I did wonder about the one with the water's edge, but I think you've cleared it up for me, and so thank you. And I agree with Brent.
When I
I
spoke to
think-
Jason, because that was one of the roads their dump truck got stuck on last year as
Mhm.
well in the winter time, they had to tow it off
Mhm.
and stuff. Like, I'm fully serious, you can see the sand pile still there, actually.
Mhm.
So it makes sense, and it puts it by the hydro and stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with moving the process forward.
Okay,
And then, because it's straightforward, it's public anyway, so.
Yeah.
So the proposal for this other road sounds like it's a better road than the current one.
well, it needs to be built.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be built at the property owner's expense, because they're gaining water access, because right now the road sort of is in between them and the water. I shouldn't say they're gaining water access, they have access now, but the road is sort of in between the frontage to the water and the property.
Yeah.
And
like
so,
Lake Clear Road.
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
The nice
yeah.
thing is, so if you
It's
took.
a lot of, like Jerry has
I
that
like
too.
it.
I don't like it. Yeah.
One, Tracy, if you like went to the spot where it shows where that right turn is,
Mhm.
you'll see a gate right there anyways, and you'll see all the hydro poles. So if you just continue on the old road, you'll actually be able to see where the new road network, which is on the survey and stuff, would actually come out and
Mhm.
stuff, just if you're ever there, you can see like that Menard is right there as well, and
Mhm.
the boat launch, so.
So it sounds like it's better for everyone by having this new road.
Yeah,
The
like-
majority.
Like I said, I'm only concerned about that one parcel that appears to abut the road, but it doesn't, as the survey shows, it doesn't. But sometimes that can cause an issue, so it was just, it was, you know, nobody's come forward with any concerns about it. And so I just wanted to make sure that council is informed that that's there. And as I said, when I spoke to Jason about it, he said like, no, he comes in off of a right of way around through the farm. So if that's the access that property owner is using, I think my only conversation with them, if they came to the public meeting, is they should probably make that legal, because once we close the road, you know, they may not be able to get into an agreement with the other property owner to access there. So just,
It's a good point.
but if, yeah,
And
so.
that would be private.
very-
That would be
it's not
that'd
our
be private
issue.
and private
Yeah.
anyways. If
No, but
not,
great
if
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not our,
not, they're
yeah.
gonna water access and they're really good.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not our issue, but I wouldn't want us to close something or do something that has, you know, that could come back years later and have someone say, well, we didn't receive notice, or
Mhm.
council didn't think about these things. So as long as we're all aware and we're like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do the public process. And if they come forward with these concerns, then we're ready to sort of discuss them and see what we can do about them. So, yeah, I don't want them to
Great.
come out as a surprise at the public meeting. You might as well
Yeah.
know ahead of time.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
it may not, that person may be perfectly happy with however they're accessing their property, and that's fine.
Yes, John.
So when we send out notification to the people within 120 meters,
Yeah,
does Hydro get a notification as well, because they're kind of a partner in that line of
No.
poles?
no, they do, like, if it's a planning or a zoning bylaw, they're part of the agencies that we
Okay.
notify.
So
But
Bell gets notified.
Honestly, it would
Hydro-
only enhance hydro, probably, they'd be happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but they're,
That's
yeah.
fine. They do their poles separate from our process.
So the reason you get notice, whether it's 60 meters or 120 meters, depending on the legislation. The reason you get notice is so that you can come to the public meeting and speak for and or against. So Hydro, you know,
but
it's,
if this
Doesn't
is,
need that.
and my understanding
they-
is it is where the hydro lines are, then in that case, yes, because there may be an easement there. So.
there may be,
So in this instance, yes, I would suggest that we probably should send Hydro a letter as well. Now, lots of times they. Notices, but,
Bell is pretty good.
Bell is pretty good, like, yes, the odd, and sometimes the school boards are and sometimes they're not. It's just, but I agree with you. If this is coming down where hydro lines are, there could be an easement or something there, and maybe they want, but if they don't own the property, they've only got an easement. Then it's
Exactly.
really up to
Then-
the property owner if they want to, unless there's something in that easement that doesn't allow the property owner to transfer that property to the township, but I think that would, you know,
But the only way we would send it to them is if they owned property.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Sounds good, just sounds like part of the
Yeah.
protocol.
Yep,
Mhm.
all right.
Let's carry on. Send it over.
Moving on, new and unfinished. Do you have a library update? Because there was nothing.
I
there was no
emailed
report.
one out. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I just emailed it to Sandra and Net, just to be
Oh.
like, oh, I never actually sent it out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I sent you all the, so I sent this CO report to Ned and Sandra, and I'll share it out afterwards as well.
Perfect. I just like to see it. It's good. Police Services Board update. We have not had a PSB meeting, but I was contacted on September the 6th to let me know that on September the 9th, Killaloe and Upper Ottawa Valley are officially merged. And so our commander is now Steph Neufeld from U of E.
Mhm.
So great guy, was by my side during the 2019 floods for days and for months, really. So he's a
Yeah.
really good man. I think everybody will like him. I think Marianne was a wonderful interim in Killaloe, and it was a pleasure to work with her. And did you do your PSB homework? Your exam?
Yes,
You did?
yes, I did.
Good man, good
Yes,
man.
I did.
Okay, because I'm just your alternate.
I noticed I've got a notice on the email, but I didn't get to read it to see what they said.
That's because
Oh.
you know, you're confident.
That's just the notice that, yes, they've merged.
Yeah.
All right,
Another update on that, I just got today.
oh, did you now?
Yes, there's more mandatory training for the members.
Okay, but it's merged.
No, I know.
I'm just the
I
alternate.
know, but yes, there's.
You just made me do the training. I got 100% though.
But there is more training that they're gonna all have to do. For 8 hours.
I'm sorry. 8 hours to sit on police services board?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm handing off that alternate
they,
anytime now.
they should be able to complete it in under 8 hours.
Nice. Well, good luck, Murph.
Yeah, I know. Well, the other one had a mega bunch of reading as well.
Okay,
About
I
3
just got it today, so I
That was
haven't.
about 3 hours at it.
Well, you guys can discuss that after
Yeah.
the meeting. Sounds like a plan. Perfect.
Brutal. Museum update.
That's what happened.
Okay, our next meeting date is October the 3rd. It is a Wednesday.
Second.
It is the 2nd. It is a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And we have 2 delegations that
I know we do.
I should be talking to Jerry.
Yes. Two
Two
delegations.
delegations that meeting.
Yeah, it's fine. How are they, with-
I want to do Centennial Park first.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Make sure it's staged.
How I have
Yeah,
allotted
that's
it,
better.
if that
And then
works.
how much do we allot for the second delegation?
30 minutes.
Will that be enough?
I asked them to do 10-15 minutes of a presentation because I don't know how much has changed from the last presentation.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
fine. If
don't
it's
think
fairly
a
good.
lot.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
then questions from council, I thought 15 minutes would do it, but if there's more and we run over, that's up to you, Mr. Chair, if you're.
That's fine. I'll keep us going.
Okay.
Perfect. Sounds good.
And I'll have my mayor's report.
No, it's canceled already. Perfect. Next step.
Media.
So I'm curious if the delegations are now.
Well, one
For the next
is
meeting.
Gerald and Terry McCann are coming.
Okay.
To give us some history on Centennial Park. Because we put some irons in the fire. And, the other one is our, the consultants for Lake Claire.
All right.
You don't have to be curious, you can just ask.
No, I did ask. That was one of my questions. So, and why are we meeting on Wednesday instead of Tuesday? Next time?
John's in,
No, I.
That was
This
my
yeah.
request.
Oh.
Just first didn't work with me. And then
Sorry.
so I asked for it to be on the second, which is the Wednesday. That was back like 6 months ago.
Yeah, like Jan, when we were setting the meetings in December for the meetings for this year, we moved a couple of them. This is one of them.
Okay,
My apologies, Debbie, but it's great to have you back.
thank you.
you should apologize.
Yeah.
We moved it so that Gerald could come present because he's busy on.
Well, yeah,
Tuesdays.
yeah.
Oh, hey, that's good. Throw him under the bus.
One guy.
Oh, but I mean, that definitely,
No, and,
Tuesdays are better for me, not better for him.
but it was
But any-
weird because we said that we wanted to do this.
Right.
And then we realized that's the perfect date because it is a Wednesday.
Yes, good, thank you.
We have no closed session, so I will ask for an adjournment, please. Moved by Brent, all in favor, we are adjourned. Thank you, committee.